Greetings, loved ones. According to the CDC, over half of all children in the world, that's 1 billion children ages 2 to 17, experience violence every year. Today, we're going to continue talking about the facts surrounding physical abuse. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel, follow us. Help me break that where I said experience violence every year. Too much noise. Today, we are going to talk about the facts surrounding child physical abuse. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You could save a life. What should you do if you suspect a child is being or has been physically abused? If you are a counselor, parent, teacher, or anyone else concerned about a child whom you suspect is being abused, the best way to begin is by talking to the child. You can start with open-ended questions. Don't assume that the child is being abused. There may be many explanations for why a child is behaving in a particular way or for how a child was injured. Some children have conditions such as osteogenesis imperfecta or blood clotting disorders that make them more vulnerable to bruising and or broken bones. If the child has a visible injury, ask how the child was injured. And open-ended follow-up questions, that's what you want to have. You want to ask open-ended follow-up questions to look for inconsistency if the explanation for the injury seems implausible or doesn't match the injuries. Let's talk about some physical abuse myth and facts. Here's a myth. Good parents don't get frustrated or angry with their children's behavior. Fact. All parents get angry at their children sometimes. It's okay to be angry, but it is not okay to hurt your children in anger. Angry feelings cannot get you into trouble, but violent behavior can. It is important for parents to learn how to express and control their anger so that their children learn to do the same. What can you do if a child discloses physical abuse? Whether or not you are a mandated reporter, child abuse to the protection, let me repeat this. Whether or not you are mandated to report child abuse to the protection agency, it varies from state to state. In New Jersey, for example, every citizen who encounters a child and observes behavior or conditions that might indicate abuse or neglect is required by law to report their suspicions. Even if you are not mandated to report abuse, there is no law against making an abuse report if you have a reasonable suspicion that a child is being abused. The identity of the person making the child abuse report is not shared with anyone other than child protection service workers. And some states also allow anonymous reporting. If you know or suspect a child is being physically abused, please call the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4A-CHILD. That's 1-800-4A-CHILD. 1-800-422-4453, and we'll have that information in our video description. If you need immediate assistance, call 911. So why don't children tell anyone about physical abuse? There are many reasons why children don't tell anyone about it, including fear that their parents will be mad at them or will hurt them worse for telling. They don't want to get their parents into trouble. They're afraid of being removed from their homes. Maybe there's a belief that it's okay for their parents to hurt them. Then there's the feeling of not being believed, and there's the shame and the guilt and the belief that they deserve the abuse for their bad behavior. So let's go to another physical abuse myth and fact. Myth. Parents who physically abuse their children are bad and unloving people. Fact. Most parents love their children and do not mean to hurt them. They discipline their children because they want them to behave well. Many parents feel frustrated with their children's behaviors and they don't know any other way to discipline them, but they are open to learning effective parenting strategies to reduce the risk of physical abuse in the future. So let's talk a moment about what are the consequences of physical abuse for families. Children. Experts in the field of child behavior believe that physical abuse teaches children to be submissive, fearful, and/or aggressive. It also teaches them that hitting is a way to control other people and solve problems. The attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors that grow out of physical abuse can cause a child to have problems at school, at home, and with friends. And sometimes children who have been hit don't do well at making and keeping friends because they may not trust people in authority. Children may also become fearful of their parents, and it can be confusing for children when a parent, the person they depend on and love the most, hurts them in some way. Being hit, it may make children feel angry, helpless, powerless, hostile, guilty, or ashamed. And it may result in their becoming chronically anxious or depressed. All of these negative feelings about themselves increase children's stress levels and only make it harder for them to behave well. With therapy and support, children can overcome the effects of child physical abuse and go on to lead productive lives. Now let's talk about the parents. When children's behaviors get worse in response to being hit, parents may feel even more stress. When physical punishment does not create the results a parent seeks, the parent may escalate the punishment, and the child and parent may get locked in this vicious cycle of greater violence on the part of parents and greater acting out on the part of the children. Many parents feel upset after hitting their children. They may feel bad about themselves and their abilities to parent. Once the state's child protection service agencies become involved, parents may be arrested. They might have to go to court. They may have their children removed from their care. There are alternatives to physical punishment, so don't hesitate to contact a therapist in your area to assist you. According to the CDC, over half of all children in the world, that's 1 billion children ages 2 to 17, experience violence every year. The question is not if you'll encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. Micah 6:8 says, He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice. If you're a victim of violence, please listen to me. I'm going to get a little closer here. I want you to know that you are valued, you are loved, you are intelligent, you are worthy. I want you to know that there is a way out from the abuse and that it's not your fault. I also want you to know that abuse is not love. And most of all, I want you to know that you are not alone. If you are suffering violence, reach out to somebody today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. If you know of a child or other person suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we're going to talk about recognizing physical child abuse. Until then, God bless you.